Some bodybuilders resort to taking the worst shortcut imaginable towards their bodybuilding goals. Let's look at what happens when fake muscles go wrong. Number 7. Arlindo de Souza. Synthol, a site enhancement oil, is a chemical that some bodybuilders use in order to make muscles appear enormous. It is composed of 85% oil, 7.5% benzyl alcohol, and 7.5% lidocane, which makes up 100% of the reason why you should never use the stuff. Synthol use can turn muscle into rock, potentially leading to amputations. Yet some guys will do whatever it takes to achieve a monstrous look. Do these guys even lift? Maybe a little, but the injections far outweigh their gains. Brazilian bodybuilder Arlindo de Souza has 29-inch biceps, the largest in Brazil. One might think he could lift a truck with arms this size, but they're merely a product of synthol injections, admits de Souza. Unsurprisingly, he's no stronger now than he was before he started injecting. The only thing he's gained from it is being known as a freak show in his hometown. My friend Paulinho, he passed away from doing these things, said Mr de Souza. I felt his passing a lot. He took it, I took it, but he went beyond the limit. I advise no one to take this oil. I've stopped taking it, and other things as well, but there is always that will to start again. But I'm managing to control myself to this day. The Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, nicknamed the Mountain in his hometown, has already been taking a cocktail of steroids, hormones, and horse vitamins to bulk up. Then a gym buddy offered him a site enhancement oil to help pull ahead of his rivals. I loaded the syringe, put it in my arm, injected it, and it swelled me up right then and there. To tell you the truth, I didn't feel a thing. There was sometimes a bit of dizziness, but nothing apart from that. I was working out the same, so my strength stayed the same. Nothing changed. Most people who take it do not know how to apply it. They will use just any old blood vessel. Some will end up losing an arm. Others need an operation. Some may even lose their lives. Injecting site enhancement oils carries the risk of infection and of abscesses developing in the muscle. These abscesses can grow and spread within the tissue. Some users, when operated on, have been found to have arms full of pus and oil. Mr de Souza has fears for his own health and has visited a clinic for help, but medics have so far refused to operate because he did it to himself. Mr de Souza said, "If I get ill, if my arms burst, that's when I can go and see the doctor. But for me that's normal and something I've accepted." Since he began injecting some years ago, he has become the talk of the town to the horror of his family. His sister, Marinide Gomez de Souza, said the families were extremely worried about him, but still hoped he would settle down and have a family. There are some people who make fun of him, there are some people who find it interesting, and there are some people who think he is from another planet. Number 6. Mustafa Ismail. Don't tell Popeye. It turns out you don't need to eat your spinach to get the world's biggest arms. Massachusetts bodybuilder Mustafa Ismail eats 7 pounds of protein, 9 pounds of carbohydrates, and 3 gallons of water each day to help maintain upper arms that measure 31 inches, around as big as a small man's waist. Skeptics have forever had their doubts regarding Mustafa using Synthol as a means behind Ismail's beyond bulging biceps and triceps, and Guinness World Records wavered on whether to recognize him until it eventually did in 2013. The man with the world's largest biceps says he's had never heard of Synthol until he was accused to use it. But he admits that he took testosterone 4 years ago because it was over-the-counter and cheaper than supplements. But since he lives in the US, working as a cashier in a gas station, he says he couldn't afford steroids even if he wanted them. He claims that he got the largest biceps in the world from the World Gym in Milford. Number 5. Romario dos Santos Alves. 25-year-old Brazilian Romario dos Santos Alves is one of the most infamous Synthol users. His arms are 25 inches in girth, but according to his doctor, they've completely turned to rock. I remember the doctor told me that they would need to amputate both arms. They said everything in there, all my muscles were rock, Alves said in an interview. He also exclaims how addictive the substance is and discourages others from using it. It looks like he's realized his mistakes, albeit one too late. Number 4. Greg Valentino. Greg is not a liked man. In fact, he's quite possibly the most despised man in bodybuilding. Mention his name on an internet forum and this is what you'll hear. Why would he destroy his body with Synthol like that? Does he think he looks good? Who does he think he's fooling? He's a laughingstock, an idiot, an embarrassment to the sport. He gives bodybuilding a bad name. However, Valentino continues to claim the following. Everyone accuses me of Synthol. I don't take Synthol. I was taking propionate and equipoise into the muscle itself. Synthol just works one way. It stretches the fascia. With equipoise and propionate, you get the double whammy. You get the stretch from the oil, plus you get the localized growth from the drugs themselves. Synthol is like taking oil without the drug. It's like taking dead oil, like buying fake steroids without a drug in there. You can only get so much for Synthol. I've got 27-inch arms. What, you think I have 7 inches of oil in there? That would be ridiculous. They wouldn't even look like arms anymore. Listen, I had 21-inch arms before I ever took a steroid in my life. You be the judge. Number 3. Valdir Sagado. A Brazilian bodybuilder who had been injecting oil into his biceps for years continues the use despite life-threatening warnings from doctors. Valdir Sagado has raised eyebrows across the internet for years, showing off his Synthol-injected biceps, pectorals, and back muscles. Now in his late 50s, the Sao Paulo native was first inspired by 7-time Mr. Olympia Arnold Schwarzenegger and fictional characters like the Hulk. He prides himself in being called the monster on the streets. Doctors warned Sagado 3 years ago that he could face amputation, nerve damage, or even muscle disfigurement due to his continued use of the chemical. However, these are only at the minor scale of lethal health risks faced by the Synthol addict. I've doubled my biceps, but I still want to be bigger. His Instagram handle, Valdir Synthol, boasts hundreds of followers with several photos and videos of himself flaunting his bloated muscles. Sagado claims he was an emaciated, skinny drug addict during his youth and that many called him Skinny Dog. I got involved with drugs and I started losing weight because you don't eat. You lead a wrong life, he previously stated. While Sagado quit drugs in his later years and joined a gym, he wasn't satisfied with his gains. He wanted more extreme effects from his limited exercise routine. Sagado got hooked on Synthol after he was first offered the drug by someone in the gym. He eventually became dependent on the muscle-enhancing substance, owing to his addictive personality. Number 2. Kirill Tereshin. The Synthol kid himself, Kirill Tereshin, was in the hospital getting his arms drained. Now he has provided details of what happened, and it paints a sobering picture. For the uninitiated, Tereshin is something of a circus act in the bodybuilding community. The Russian bodybuilder has garnered fame on social media primarily due to his unique appearance as a result of injecting Synthol oil into his arms. The use of Synthol is not unheard of, as it is occasionally used by bodybuilders wanting to make some parts of their body look bigger before a contest. However, Tereshin has employed the practice for years, even beyond the risk of life-threatening health concerns. Now, it would appear that Kirill Tereshin has been forced to have the oil removed from his arms. He was recently seen in the hospital getting them drained, but had to return for a second surgical procedure. Posting to Instagram, he explained that he had to get the Synthol oil, as well as lifeless muscle tissue, removed from his arms. Things were apparently so severe that he almost lost his hands. Number 1. Rambo. It should come as no surprise that another oil-enhanced athlete has taken the social media spotlight with his horribly inflated arms. The yet unidentified man is being called the Rambo Synthol freak, not because of his uncanny resemblance to a young Sylvester Stallone, but because of his camo pants and red bandana. As you can see in the pictures, this man's biceps are practically melting onto his elbows. They are now giant bags of inflammation and infection that are hideously hanging from his arms. It would be easy to poke fun at this dude and make snarky comments about his giant arms, but let's be real. This is a sickness, a horrible disease that will ultimately lead this dude down a path of amputation, or worse, loss of gains. Just joking. Fatal incident, we meant his end. That's all for this video, folks. We'll see you another time.